Hey guys, what's up? Alicia Cross here, and if we have not met yet, I am a yoga instructor, a wellness coach, a personal trainer, and I've been helping clients just like you for over 18 years reach their goals. And today I'm talking to you about yoga for chronic pain, and this is inspired by the workshop that I went to this weekend. I do my yoga training through YogaFit. I have my 500-hour through them, so I've been taking classes, workshops, modules, that's not as good, with them since, 2006 was my first one. So I got my 500-hour 2 years ago, and I continue to take classes and workshops to learn more, and these are like my little mini retreats. So I look forward to them. They come here twice a year. So this past weekend I went. I'm so lucky that they come here locally, so I don't have to travel to them. They come here. So I am really inspired to talk to you about yoga for chronic pain, and just about pain and chronic pain in general. So I want to talk to you about some of my takeaways. And if you are here live, if you found me live, say hi, give me a wave. And whether you are watching live or you are watching this as a replay later, thank you for being here. And please post your questions or any comments that you have anytime. I would love to chat more with you about this. And I asked for questions in advance from my clients and students in our private Facebook group, and also put it out on Instagram stories. So I got questions regarding back pain and arthritis, and I am very happy that I got those questions because arthritis is something that a lot of my clients are dealing with, because most of my clients are age 50 and up, and low back pain that's the biggest, that's the number one. That's the back pain just in general is going to be the biggest source of complaints around chronic pain, and low back pain specifically. So I'm really excited to talk about those. Okay, so first of all, some of the things here may be new to you. They may bring up questions, and I encourage you to do more research and to reach out to me if you have questions. Some of the stuff you may kind of know, and it may just reiterate, and that's how I felt in this training that I took, this workshop. It was kind of reaffirming the things I already knew, also helping just to clarify some concepts. But one thing, if this is new to you, pain is not a thing. Pain is not a thing in your body that you can take out. Pain is 100% from the mind. And people used to say things like, oh, it's all in your head. And they were saying that as a very dismissive way because they couldn't find like a physical source of your pain. And the joke is on them, because it is all in your head, and that doesn't mean it's not real, but guess what? The whole world is in your head. It is all in your head, and that does not mean it's not real, but this is the thing we have to address, and we haven't been addressing this issue, and that is why we are not good at dealing with chronic pain, and this is why we have the opioid epidemic that we have here in this country. So we're starting to understand this. And one thing I did learn in the training was kind of this history of pain. So from our, not from our manual, but from kind of the textbook that we were using, it kind of gave a little history of pain, and I think this is important if we just do a little history lesson really quick. So back in the times of early Egypt, ancient times, pain was believed to be like a demon, and you had to, get that out of you. And then we move into the time of Greece, and they talked about the humors and balancing the humors. So they were looking more at the physical body. And then we got into the area to the time of Descartes. So let's see, when was this? 1500s, 1600s. And this is where they were beginning to separate mind and body. And we look at that as like such a crime right now that Descartes separated mind and body and really attributed, his famous saying, "I think, therefore I am." But what he was doing was he had to give control of the mind over to the church so that he could investigate the body and look at anatomy. So he said, well, pain is in the body, and if we can't find a direct reason and cause for your pain, then you need to go to church. You need to, go pray on it. So he got to appease the powers of that time, the church, and then he also got to investigate the body, which is what he wanted to do. And then as we move past that time frame, getting into the 1800s, then they're starting to see, well, the brain does play a role. The brain, something is happening here with the brain, but they looked at it as more of an afterthought. So really, we should be able to find the source of your pain in your body, and then we should correlate to also the intensity of the pain. You know, a paper cut versus a broken leg, you should be perceiving those on exactly the scale that we would think. And if anything else is happening, if you're perceiving, you know, minor pain more than you should, or we can't find a source of your pain, then it's in your mind and you need to go to a psychiatrist, or you need to be put in an asylum because something is wrong with your brain. So we were getting there. We were getting a little bit closer, but then it wasn't until the 1900s where we had something called gate control theory, and this was starting to recognize more of the role that psychological and social factors were playing, and then that really solidified into the model that we have right now, and it's called the biopsychosocial model. And this says that your pain can be biological, so if you break your leg, obviously that, can be physical, biological. So if you break your leg, obviously that is the source of your pain. Your pain can also be psychological, so your mind, and social. And social can be anything from, you know, your family, society, your culture, your religion. And so what I think is really, I don't know if ironic is the right word, but it's almost like bringing it full circle. So all the way back in Egypt time, remember, we said that the cause of your pain they believed was a demon. Well, if in your culture and in your religion that is something that you have been taught to believe, if you think that is the cause of your pain, then that is the cause of your pain. No one else can tell you any different. So this is the model that we're in right now, biopsychosocial. Hey, Kayla. So there may or may not be a physical cause for your pain. Now, this blew my mind 10 years ago when I first heard it. I did a Yoga Fit module that was about the back, Yoga Fit for the back. And we talked about the idea that somebody with back pain could have a scan or an MRI or an X-ray done. They have back pain and there's no cause. We can't see any cause for their pain. There's not any arthritis. There's not anything going on with their discs, no bulging discs or whatever you want to call it. No reason. And then you can take someone who is completely healthy and has no pain, scan their back, and find that they're full of arthritis. And when I heard this 10 years ago, this blew my mind. And I really started to grasp the concept that something else was going on here. And one of the participants in the workshop that I took this weekend, she needed to get a scan of her shoulder, and I don't know if they picked up her spine or they were also imaging her spine, but the doctor said to her, well, how are you managing all your back pain from all the arthritis that you have? She had no back pain, so the scan showed that she was full of arthritis in her back, and she to this day has no pain. And of course she was kind of upset that he even asked her that question or put that into her mind, but fortunately she does not have any back pain. This is, my boyfriend Robert is a physical therapist, and he talks about this. As they're coming out of training and schooling now, they don't want to see your scans or your MRIs. That does not help them treat you. And what makes it worse is so many of you see this scan and you see this thing on this image and you identify with it. You know, you see that I have this arthritis. And again, this plays into that biopsychosocial model where you are, you've got it in your mind now that you have this and you have this pain. And I know, you have this pain and it hurts and you want somebody to tell you what it is and that you can just fix it and take this pill or have this surgery and cut it out. But that is not what we're finding. I mean, there is so much information out there about back surgeries that do not work. How about knee replacement? You think, I'm just going to replace it. It's not going to hurt anymore. There are plenty of people out there who have knee replacement surgery and it doesn't help. It doesn't do anything for them. How about this idea of sham surgery? People think they're getting surgery. They go in there and they cut them open and they're fine. They do nothing. They just give them a scar. I've even, I think it was in the book Suggestible You, there was a sham surgery for someone who had seizures, I think it was, and they stopped having seizures. And it was just a sham surgery. So there's a lot going on that we do not yet understand, but we have definitely gotten to this place where we realize that we were doing things wrong with all the prescription meds. That was not the way to go, and unfortunately a lot of people have suffered and paid a really big price for that. So this is why all of us in any kind of alternative field, especially, even and especially in yoga, we are so passionate about this because we care about people. I care about you. I don't want you to be in pain. So if this feels like, hard information to hear, please know that it's coming from the best place. If I thought that drugs and surgery were the best way to help you, that's the field I would be in. That's the, sign I would be carrying and the flag I would be waving, but I'm not. This is where I'm at because this is what I know will help you. And that does not mean it's easy, but you have to make the decision that that's the work that you want to do. So it's one of those things where it's simple, but it's not easy. So pain, 100% in your mind, it is an output, it's not an input. So what that means is so we think we have these pain receptors in our body, and we don't. We do not have any pain receptors. We have something that's called a nociceptor, and it's nociceptor like noxious. So it's it's receiving information that may be a problem. So let's say you get a cut. Okay, you have a cut on your leg, you have an open sore, you have a wound. Your body knows this is probably not good. Your skin is your integumentary system. It's meant to protect you. It's your covering. You have this cut. You need to pay attention to it. So how is it going to get you to pay attention to it? The brain is going to send you a signal that is unpleasant, uncomfortable, i.e. painful, to make you, look at that cut on my leg. I should probably do something about that. I should clean it up. I should take care of it. Same thing if you have pain, not external, but think about internal. So how about these headaches that are coming from the neck, cervicogenital, I can't say this word, I can't say it, I'm not even going to try. So it's generated from the neck. It sort of feels like a migraine, and it's not a migraine because your migraine medication doesn't work. So the problem is you have this terrible posture. So you have forward slumped shoulders, and you're compensating by reaching your head forward so you can still see the world in front of you. And what that's doing is it's putting your neck in a terrible, terrible place. And your body knows, okay, this is not good. We're getting some feedback that things are touching here that shouldn't be touching. This isn't awesome. How do we get her attention to this area to get her to stop doing it? So it sends this pain. And the pain is usually registered as a headache because that's just what it does. And the body is trying to get you to pay attention to your neck and fix your posture and sit up straight and lengthen your spine. But it feels like a migraine, so we take that pill. How about something like a tendon? So there's some inflammation in a tendon. Your body says this is probably not a good idea. We're just registering some inflammation. We're registering, some pressure and some changes here. Let's get her attention. So every time she flexes this muscle or uses this joint, we're going to send a shooting pain to get her attention, to get her to pay attention so that she does something about this. And then, of course, what happens is these are, once they're over 3 months, they're no longer acute, they are chronic. So this is the thing we get stuck in. So we get stuck in this loop of this never-ending pain, and unfortunately, we may not be addressing it, and it's just getting worse. So what can we do? Oh, of course, I didn't even bring it in. Robert's going to be so mad at me. I asked him to give me something, and I left it in the other room. So Robert took a training on pain this year as well. This is really big on all of our minds. And in this manual that he had, it had a page full of things that work for chronic pain. And guess what they were? Yoga, meditating, journaling, massage, all of these things. So you may need medication, especially if it's acute, right? If you break your leg or you just come out of surgery, you're probably going to want some meds. Please don't think that makes them any less addictive just because you're taking them for an acute, incident. But you may need them, and but when we're talking about chronic pain, there's other things that are going to work for you, and it is not drugs. Pain is 100%, make sure I say this right, subjective. So that means I can't tell you you're in pain or how much pain you're having. I can't put a machine on you that tells you in pain, that tells me you're in pain or tells you you're in pain. I had a client who said their doctor said to them, well, you're in pain and you don't even know it. Don't know how this person is allowed to still be in practice because that's not how pain works. that is all pain is the knowing of it. And this is why we say people have like different thresholds for pain, because it's the knowing of it that makes it a thing. Where was I going with this? Man, we're in Vata season, so here I go, losing my train of thought all over the place. Oh, so there's nothing I can put on you to measure your pain. So subjective and objective, if you're not clear on the difference. Subjective is what you can say about yourself. So if you're doing an assessment with me, subjective would be you tell me that you're feeling tired, or you're feeling lethargic, or you don't like the way your body looks. These are things you're telling me. And then objective are the things that I can observe about you. So I can use my eyes to observe. I can watch how you move. I can look at your posture. I can take you through a squat assessment and see, what's breaking down. But I can also use tools. So I can measure your heart rate. I can measure your body fat. I can measure your weight using tools, put you on a scale, use the body fat machine. So all these things I can check on you. I can never check on your pain. I have no machine to check on your pain. Only you can tell me if you're in pain or not. It's nothing that anyone can measure. It is 100% subjective. Only you can report it. No, it's nothing that we can measure. And it is an output. It's not an input. And again, if you are fascinated by this stuff, I would definitely suggest reading the book called Subjectable You. He has stuff in there that'll just blow your mind about placebos. So placebos have a positive effect and nocebos have a negative effect. So nocebo, remember like nociceptors, negative, noxious. And there was just a really cool one that he participated in a study where they were doing something with shocks and showing different colors, and the shock could be the most painful shock, but they paired it with a color that they were previously pairing with no shock, and he didn't feel anything. So he was seeing his the placebo effect at work in him, and it's because your brain makes predictions and then it fulfills those predictions. This is why I'm constantly telling you, please do not underestimate the power of your mind. And if you keep saying things to yourself like my bad knee, my bad back, I can't do this, I can't do that, that is the reality that you are creating for yourself. No matter how much we train together and how much yoga we do, if you just keep saying these things, there's nothing I can do that's stronger than the stuff you're saying to yourself. And that's the thing with pain as well, is it's conscious and subconscious. So I've heard it said that your body is your subconscious mind. I've also heard it said that your body is listening to everything you say. And remember, that's conscious and subconscious. And so that's what we are. We are this physical manifestation of all of these things. And that is why pain is a huge part of that. And I know that's hard because that's kind of asking you to step up and take some responsibility. And remember, it's the biopsychosocial model. So yes, there may be a thing in your body that is causing that pain. But if you say you have back pain and you've had the scans and you've had the MRIs and doctors aren't seeing anything, there's something else to look for. And what are those things? So I don't want to leave you without anything to pursue. So this is a really great book. This is Your Body Speaks Your Mind. So what you do is if you have an issue anywhere in your body, like especially the low back. Let me see if I can find back pain. Yep. So I got it bookmarked. Back pain, that's a common one. So low back pain. The lower back expresses all the weight and responsibility of being human. It supports the weight from above just as you carry the weight of responsibility on your world. If there is no one to help with the load, no sense of being supported, this part of the back may give way. And then she has some questions in here, but just looking and reading more about these areas may help you to find what are the other things that are going on. And so the whole thing is just set up as you look up the area of your body, and there are some questions to address. And there are other books like this. Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Same thing. You look up the body part, and she has what it means as well as affirmations. So these are two really good books to have, so you can look into what these areas mean and see how that relates to your life. There was a really great quote that said your level of pain is directly related to your sense of safety in the world. And this is where yoga comes in huge, huge, huge. Yoga and all those other modalities that I mentioned that were in the textbook, the manual that the Robert took. So things like yoga and massage and journaling and meditation. So all these things create a sense of safety for your nervous system so that you can heal. So this is absolutely what I am cultivating in a yoga class. So my yoga classes have 100% become, more gentle and more meditative and more about breath and awareness. Throughout my years of teaching, I did start, like a lot of people, I came to yoga first and foremost through like power yoga and vinyasa. And that doesn't mean it's not good to flow and do those things, but know that yoga is a modality of healing. It allows your nervous system to calm down, and we do that through the movements, through the breath, so that your body can heal. So this is where yoga is an important tool. It's more about, again, the breathing and the mind than what the positions are you're doing with your body. Like I always say, the poses, they're just made up. Creating that sense of safety, you got to work out your issues. If there is stuff going on, you got to work through that. Some things you may be able to do on your own through some journaling and some reflecting. There are tools out there that can help you. There's a really great book by Byron Katie called Loving What Is, and she has questions that you apply to situations in your life. So if you have a difficult situation, is it true? What's the story I'm telling myself about it? How does that story make me feel? Who would I be without that story? So this is some work that you can do. And then if you need help working through those things, you've got to go get that help you need through a life coach or a counselor or a therapist, because we know there is that correlation between your mind and your body. And if there are things that are still with you, working through those so that they are not plaguing you mentally and physically anymore. And then what I also want to bring up is your diet. So your diet is a big thing that you want to look at. I'm going to give you a resource here, Dr. Tina, Tyna. So I follow her on Instagram, and I guess I knew she had a podcast, but I hadn't listened to it, and Robert just sent me one of her episodes to listen to, so I listened to that today. I listened to episode 73, Gut and Pain, Part 1. So Dr. Tina, I will put a link to this podcast in the comments, but the podcast is called Pain Free and Strong. But Dr. Tina, she's a really good resource. So she's a naturopath. And she was talking about the connection between pain and your gut, meaning what you eat. So she talked about, IBS and inflammation and joint pain and arthritis. And she said, especially if you have pain in multiple joints, you need to look at what you are eating. This directly ties into Ayurveda. So this is one of the many reasons why I love Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, the focus is on the digestive system and healing the digestive system. And what Ayurveda says about the disease process is, so first you have your 3 doshas, and what happens is one of those doshas becomes out of balance. You have too much of this dosha. And so in part of the disease process, this dosha spills out of the container. So wherever it's living, wherever its home is, it spills out of there, and then it goes traveling through your body. It's like a squatter. It's going to look for a place that there's low barrier to entry, low threshold, so it can kind of go squat there. So what does it do? It goes and finds, okay, here's this arthritis that you have developing. If we would have taken that scan, that arthritis would have showed, but you don't have any pain there, right? But then this dosha that's leaking out of its home, it says, look at that knee or that back or those toes that already have some inflammation, some arthritis. We're going to go set up shop right there. And then that's what causes the pain in that area. And one of the big ways that we balance our dosha is through our diet, through the foods that we eat. I had a student who tried the no nightshades diet, and she said that she did experience relief from her arthritis pain. And nightshades are like eggplants and tomatoes. If you have heard, Tom Brady famously does not eat any nightshades because they cause inflammation. So this is something that you can definitely look at. you're using Ayurveda or just cleaning up your diet. And here's the thing too, so we have all the connections. So your gut 100% affects your mental state. Your mental state affects your pain. So we get into this vicious cycle where you are not feeling good mentally. Maybe you have some issues of depression or anxiety, and then that's going to contribute to pain. Pain is going to make you want to comfort yourself by not moving, seeking out comfort foods, eating, cakes and whatever is comforting to you, ice cream, macaroni and cheese, all those processed food. And then that's just feeding the imbalances in your gut and then making you feel more depressed and more anxious, and you don't want to move, and you're gaining weight and you're hurting more, and you just get stuck in this loop, this never-ending loop. And you've got to interrupt it. And this is why, first and foremost, you've got to clean up your diet. If you have, in my opinion, if you have anything going on, it is irresponsible to go to a doctor and ask for, surgery or, this drug that is going to have massive side effects. I mean, they just took something like Zantac for heartburn off of the market because it has been associated with cancer. So if you are the one throwing, as Dr. Tina says, the gas on the flames, and you're asking somebody else to put it out, you've got to start with you. If you're carrying around excess weight and that's just too much pressure on your joints, if you're eating a very inflammatory diet and processed foods, if you are not moving and not exercising, and then you're going out to these other doctors and saying, fix me, give me the drug. No, you've got to start with yourself. You've got to clean up your diet. You've got to get moving. You've got to work on your issues. And then if the things are still there, then as a last resort, surgery. And if you need medication for, any emotional issues, yes. But again, if you're eating Cheetos and drinking Mountain Dew, please don't expect to be a happy, fulfilled, thriving individual, right? It's just not going to happen. So you need to be responsible for those things, healing yourself and going to yoga, meditating, doing all these things that allow your nervous system to heal. So bringing it back to the question I got about back pain, I got questions specifically about low back pain and arthritis in the feet. So for low back pain, 100%, you got to look into these other things that are going on. For arthritis, again, you've got to see what's going on with your diet. I would suggest looking into Ayurveda and some dosha balancing diets. And for both of those conditions, you do need to move. You absolutely need to move. But you need to kind of, respect the boundaries of what you can and can't do. So something like arthritis, especially for arthritis in general, you want to stay warm. So whatever environment you're in, make sure you stay warm. I have a client who likes to wear shoes for our workouts. In our semi-privates, we do our workouts barefoot so that our feet get to work. She oftentimes needs to wear shoes, fine. I've had yoga students, they started yoga with me and they said they had too much arthritis pain in their big toe joint, so they couldn't do yoga without shoes. They started in shoes and eventually made their way to not wearing shoes. So who was I to wag my finger at them and say, well, it's not yoga if you're wearing shoes, because I knew that I just needed her in there healing her nervous system and calming down, and then the rest would follow. Now she does yoga without her shoes. What else? If you have arthritis, maybe first thing in the morning you're stiffer, so not holding yourself to, early morning workouts. Give your body time to warm up. And for back pain, so I definitely suggest, it's funny because I used to really think, well, you got to get that scan, you got to get that MRI because we got to see what's going on. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think that it is really helpful. I know that it's helpful to go to a physical therapist because they can give you some direction. So whether you're working out on your own or working out with me, if you've been to a physical therapist that says, hey, do this, not this, do more of this, avoid this, that helps give you some direction, and it also gives me some really good feedback. I had a client who was having physical therapy for his back and hip, and I went with him on his last session so that the physical therapist could just give me some feedback as she was treating him. So she was, of course, on board with this. He got permission from her, and then this was like a session. So I still billed him for this time that I went with him. But this is a possibility. Or he could have just reported back to me even what she said. But, you know, for his issue, she said he needs to do more of X, Y, and Z. And for right now, I would avoid this movement. And I took that and just kept running with his training. So for your low back issue, you want to go to, and I have a client who had a back injury and he went to a chiro instead of a physical therapist. If you're going to go to a chiro, you need a chiro who's going to give you exercises. He went to a chiro who just gave him massages. And I love massages, but you can get a massage from a massage therapist. I need some feedback on what exercises and stretches you need to do and to avoid so that I can help you through our sessions. And even in the semi-private sessions, that's why I keep those small. So when my client who has those back issues comes to semi-private and he says, my back is really hurting today, I know, okay, you're going to do this and not this. You're going to do more of these while the group is doing that. And that's why I keep those small. If you are my client and you say to me, I can't train today because my back hurts, I'm going to say, no, you need to train today because your back hurts. It may look different than what we usually do, but you need to keep moving. Please do not go lay on the couch when your back hurts. Nobody thinks that anymore. And if somebody's giving you that advice, if they are a medical professional giving you that advice, please find a new doctor. If it's your friend or you're a family member telling you, well, you need to take it easy, you just need to go lay down, just say thank you and move on. They mean they're the best, but that's not what's going to help you. For low back pain, it's hard because you could have, you know, what I like to look at is, do you have too much of an arch? Have you flattened your arch? Because you're going to want to bring that back into balance, and your back is part of everything you're doing. So you may need to relearn every movement that you are making. It's hard. So I would definitely say go to a physical therapist so you can get some things that are specific to you. And even if you're not getting seen by them, you know, 3 times a week, just telling them, you know, I want you to tell me what to do and I'm going to go do it, and then do those things. And then looking into these other issues, and then letting your yoga practice be more of a restorative yoga practice, nidra practice, meditation, so that you can get into that healing space. And wherever you're at, just looking at your diet, your mindset, your frame of mind, all of those things. So I hope that you learn some things, and I hope you learn some things that inspired you, that make you feel more empowered now. You are not a victim. You are not at the mercy of your diagnosis or your scans. You do have work to do. So I want you to have a positive mindset and move forward and do that work so that you can heal yourself. And I absolutely believe that you can, and that's why I do what I do. And if you have questions about any of these things, pain, yoga, meditation, diet, please post the comments here, questions or comments here, and I'm going to share this link for this podcast. And if you have any questions about anything that you want me to cover in a video going forward, you can post it here or message me anytime, and I'll be back to talk to you next week. Okay, guys, thank you.